This week, the DRL released 3 live levels back-to-back on the DRL simulator. So if you're looking to get a recap on level 3, that video came up yesterday and you can check it out right here or in the description below. I'm your host, Jordan Kyle, and this is Mad Props. Semifinals Group 1 consisted of Halo Walker, Maverick, Killian, Vanover, Amari, and Gab 707.
Heat 1. Semifinals 1.
Neither Maverick or Amari made the finals in level 3. They're the previous 2 years DRL Sim champions, so this should be their strong suit. Seeing them head-to-head in the semifinals was fun to watch. Mav, Amari, and Killian were leading Heat 1, but Maverick comes through to win it. There was a lot of pent-up energy from level 3 when he didn't make the finals, so coming out with a win in level 4, he was pumped up. He screams, "Let's go!" into his mic, about to break the speakers in my TV, and I'm all for it. He said yesterday was tough for him to get out of that mental rut, but winning early today was going to give him some serious momentum.
Heat 2. Semifinals 1.
In Heat 1, Halo crashed early on, so he came out swinging because he knew he only had 2 more heats to make the finals. It came down to Maverick and Halo, who were neck and neck into the finish line. But Halo earns his spot into the finals. Halo Walker knows just how important the semifinals are, so this win meant a lot to him.
Heat 3. Semifinals 1.
This final heat of semifinal Group 1 was big for Amari, Killian, Vanny, and Gab. Unless Maverick or Halo Walker won to put them into a sudden death, this was their last chance to make it to the finals. Killian and Amari were head-to-head for most of the heat, but Amari made a few devastating mistakes, and Killian pulls ahead to get the 3rd spot in the finals. This was Killian's first heat win in the DRL, making his home country of France very proud. Semifinals Group 2 was MCK, Pavelos, Hyper, Singyu, Siba, and Level 3 winner Alex FPV.
Heat 1. Semifinals 2.
Lap 1 was so close. They looked like a pack of birds flying in perfect synchronized lines. But after a few mistakes and some drone damage, MCK gets the lead over Hyper by a tiny fraction of a second.
Heat 2. Semifinals 2.
These athletes are so talented, it's hard to see sometimes who is better than who. Again, this race was so tight. Alex and MCK were close near the end, but Min Chan gets his 2nd win, forcing a sudden death in Group 2.
Heat 3. Semifinals 2.
Heat 3 would not be the last heat of the semifinals, but the peace of mind of not getting into sudden death is worth fighting for. So Alex pushed hard for the win the entire heat, but MCK and Hyper were right on his tail. In the last 2 seconds of the race, Hyper pulls ahead of Alex, and literally in the last few milliseconds, MCK somehow pulls ahead of the 2 and wins Heat 4. The top 3 pilots all ending within 15/100ths of a second of each other. So when the same pilot wins all 3 of the semifinals heats, both the 1st place and the 2nd place winner of sudden death get to move on to the finals. So a ton is riding on this race. This could be a huge difference in the number of points a pilot has going into level 5.
Sudden death.
So only 5 pilots are flying in the sudden death because MCK had already secured his spot in the finals. Evan Turner, legendary pilot Heads Up, said during the race, Alex FPV needs to make it into the finals here for his overall standings on the season. He jumped ahead into 2nd place in the season after winning the last heat, so he needed to get 1st or 2nd in this race to keep that momentum and gain back some space between him and Halo Walker, who is currently in 1st place on the season. However, before Evan could finish his sentence, Alex makes a brutal mistake, sending him to the back of the pack, and this left room for Pavelos and Hyper to take 1st and 2nd, respectively.
Heat 1. Finals.
Going into the finals, Halo Walker in his sophomore year in the league was the only veteran of the whole pack. It was the youngest finals matchup in DRL history. The ticker in the top left of the screen looked like it was having a seizure because Heat 1 was so close and pilots were switching the lead super often. But going into lap 2, MCK began to make a little room in front of him to get away from everyone. A lot of young testosterone competing for first, but the other guys just couldn't seem to keep up with Min Chan Kim, who is the first to make it into the Golden Heat.
Heat 2. Finals.
Maverick had an early lead in Heat 2. Evan mentioned that Maverick's lines are a bit more unconventional than the other pilots. Mav is by far the most inexperienced of all the pilots, as he's only been flying FPV for about 2 years. But being the 2022 DRL Sim Tournament champion, he has earned his right to be competing with the best in the world. Inexperienced or not, Maverick wins Heat 2 and is now in his first Golden Heat of his career. Layla Annalee could barely get a word in during his interview because he was just cheering and shouting for joy after his first finals Heat win.
Heat 3. Finals.
Heat 3 was a close race. 4 of these pilots still looking for a spot in the Golden Heat. I'm pretty sure is the closest finish of the whole season so far. Halo Walker beats Pavelos by 6/1000ths of a second. To put that in perspective, it only takes roughly 1/10 of a second to blink. This race finish could happen 16 times and you wouldn't be done blinking yet. It took me back to August 2008 during the Beijing Olympic Games. American swimmer Michael Phelps won his 7th gold medal by 1/100th of a second over Milorad Kovic from Serbia. The entire world was in disbelief at how close this matchup was. But the Golden Heat now has Halo Walker, MCK, and Maverick in it, and Pavelos has a second place, so he was halfway to joining them.
Heat 4. Finals.
Heat 4 came down to who had the tightest lines. Maverick being a little bit more comfortable with his previous win, he had the ability to not hold back and fight for tighter corners and riskier lines than anyone else, and it was paying off. He was flying like we had never seen him fly. He was flying like a champion. Maverick takes the win once again and celebrates big and bold. You love to see it.
Heat 5. Finals.
Heat 5, you could actually start to see Maverick getting under some of the other racers' skins. He just couldn't be stopped, and that frustration is a distraction for all the other pilots. MCK took some damage to his drone, and Maverick was clearly in front. At this point, Pavelos and Hyper are just fighting for second place. Pavelo gets the silver, bringing him into the Golden Heat.
Heat 6. Finals.
The momentum Maverick had at this point was seemingly unbeatable. Killian was comfortably in second for a while, but this was the final heat of the finals without another second place under his belt. So a silver wouldn't do him any good to get him into the Golden Heat. In the last second, MCK jumps into first, solidifying the competitors to MCK, Maverick, Halo Walker, and Pavelos.
Golden Heat. Winner takes all.
The Golden Heat begins just like every other heat of this finals, with Maverick way in front. If any other pilot wanted to take it from him at this point, they would have to take some serious risks. From the beginning to the end of the race, Maverick didn't lose his place in first once. This is a career first for the rookie, but I suspect we will see him back on the podium some more before the end of the season. MCK got second, Pavelos third, and Halo Walker in fourth place. After the race, Halo Walker released a statement apologizing to his fans for his performance and promising to get better. Halo, you're a little hard on yourself. I love the competitive spirit, but you are flying like a champion. He didn't make the Golden Heat in level 3, and then he got last place in the Golden Heat of level 4, so I'm sure it's this compound frustration because he knows he has what it takes to win. Even still, his lead in the overall points of the season is only decreased by 1 down to a 10-point lead. The top 5 pilots are Halo Walker with 57, MCK with 47, Alex now in third with 43, Vanover with 39, and Pavelos with 28. If you want to keep up with the season standings, I post the top 5 pilots on my Instagram after every level, so go follow at Mad Props Podcast. The overview of level 5 is coming out tomorrow, so while you're here, go ahead and subscribe to be among the first to see it. Until then, I'm Jordan Kyle, signing off.